With the first pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joseph Burrow, quarterback, LSU. There's a clear pecking order here in this draft, with the consensus locking in the first couple picks in this one. Here the Bengals sit still after several offers from the Dolphins and take their quarterback of the future in Joe Burrow. Burrow finished the 2019 season with a Heisman Trophy, the national championship, and 65 total touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. He took massive leaps forward in 2019, and the Bengals are hoping he does the same for them in the NFL. Burrow is the type of guy that everyone falls behind and allows his leadership to take shape. We could see a breakout year right out of the gate as long as Zach Taylor puts him in the position to be successful as soon as he steps in the building. With the second pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young, edge, Ohio State. There were rumblings of a trade back here in Washington, but I'm just not buying it. Getting the opportunity to lock in the absolute best prospect in this class at the number 2 spot absolutely cannot be ignored. Chase Young is immediately going to be put in a situation with the likes of Matt Ioannidis, Montez Sweat, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Ryan Kerrigan. That could be a big problem for the rest of the NFC East. Jesus, just thinking about that line already has me assuming Wentz is going to get destroyed, but that's a conversation for another day. Young allows Ron to be more aggressive on the defensive side of the ball, and that is a recipe for a very successful franchise as this moves on. With the third pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Detroit Lions select Jeffrey Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State. Jeffrey Okudah sits on the board waiting to be the next great Ohio State prospect to set foot in the NFL. The Detroit Lions just moved away Darius Slay and traded him to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 3rd and 5th round pick in this draft, which should help when trying to fill out the rest of their roster. Okudah can step right into Slay's role and be an impact player very, very quickly. Okudah's ball skills and quickness are elite, and I believe he could be one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL in a very short time. This is one of those can't-miss prospects if the need is there for your team. I fully expect Patricia to want to build his defense from back to the front, and Okudah checks that box 100%. With the 4th overall pick in the Lazy Killer mock draft, the New York Giants select Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle, Louisville. The Giants sit at the number 4 overall pick after taking Saquon Barkley and Danny Dimes in back-to-back drafts. Getting a guy like Becton instead of Wirfs or Wills is more about potential to me than anything else. Becton has a ton of room to grow, and I believe he has the highest upside of any of the big 4 offensive linemen. He is a mauler at multiple fronts and will help to provide Saquon with huge running lanes. Daniel Dimes will feel safe and be able to throw the ball to Slayton, Tate, and Shepard on the outside, and Ingram lined up at the tight end spot. I think this is a great pick here for the New York Giants. With the 5th pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Miami Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback from Alabama. The Dolphins have done their homework, whether or not you believe all the reports surfacing over the last week. The Dolphins are going to come away with a quarterback in this draft, and why not right now? Tua shouldn't have fell to the spot in the draft regardless, and I think the Dolphins will recognize that while they are sitting here staring at their board. If you did a mock draft in September or October, Tua could have very well been the number 1 pick. So with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen in the building already, why not get a guy that needs to ideally sit for a year anyway? The short answer is you do, and you let the coaches groom him to be the guy in 2021, a la Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. There is a scenario here where the Dolphins stay put and look to draft Tua in a spot that doesn't require a trade up or a loss of assets. They have already planned on sitting him a year, which is why they didn't try and get any other options in free agency. I think this is going under the radar and could possibly be coming to fruition later in the draft. I would have loved to grab the tackle here, but the more I think about it, I just don't see Tua escaping the Dolphins at 5. With the 6th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Isaiah Simmons, linebacker, Clemson. Well, the Chargers get to pair their dynamic safety in Derwin James both of their corners, including newcomer Chris Harris Jr. with the ultra versatile Simmons, who can slide in at multiple positions along that defense. With Anthony Lynn coming out and giving Tyrod the bill of confidence, I would love nothing more than to see the Chargers draft a highly versatile chess piece. This is a pick that will have a lot of hype around it later today and could turn out to be the very best by 2022. With the 7th pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Carolina Panthers select Derrick Brown, interior defensive lineman, Auburn. Derrick Brown is truly a force to be reckoned with on the interior of the defensive line. The things he can do at the point of attack are next level and downright scary when you get his film in front of you. He could be a difference maker on that defense. In Carolina, they need that after losing Luke Kuechly to a shocking retirement just a couple months ago. I tried to find a trade scenario here, but I couldn't justify anyone wanting to move up for the Panthers or the Panthers wanting to trade them their pick. I'm looking at you, Tampa Bay. I believe the Panthers would be happy with this pick and would allow them to get better by a substantial amount in 2020. With the 8th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle, Iowa. The Cardinals were in a situation to move back here in an effort to stockpile some picks later in the draft, but decided to turn down Atlanta's offer to move up. More on Atlanta in a couple moments. Arizona couldn't pass up this opportunity to take the best offensive lineman in the draft here in Wirfs. We know Kyler needs protection around him in order to truly untap the potential of Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Wirfs helps that big time and allows for Hopkins, Fitzgerald, and Kirk to push downfield at a more prevalent rate. I love this choice, and it would be a slam dunk selection with the way the board has progressed. With the 9th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select C.J. Henderson, cornerback, from Florida. The Jaguars select the second best cornerback prospect in the draft here with C.J. Henderson. With Okudah off the board, this is the only viable selection I see in terms of secondary help for the Jaguars. From Florida, Henderson possesses a strong ability to man defenders and cover the perimeter of the field with ease. He needs some work on his focus and mental game, but can dominate once he adjusts to the NFL. The Jaguars are desperate for a playmaker to replace Jalen Ramsey, and they find that here with Henderson. This is going to be a pick that excites the Titans because Henderson is a poor tackler in space, but he checks every other box for the Jaguars. With the 10th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Denver Broncos trade up and select CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver from Oklahoma. The Broncos trade up right behind the Jaguars as they believe the wide receiver run is going to begin with the Jets at pick number 11. Trading up with the Browns was easy as only 2 of the top 4 tackles have come off the board and they can address the safety position before hitting offensive tackle later in the draft. The Broncos wanted to grab Sutton and Hamilton, a running mate, at the top of the draft, so they get their pick of the litter here as no wide receivers have come off the board. CD is a true burner and arguably the best wide receiver in the class. His release is fluid and can really push the envelope when it comes to consistency at the position. CD got better each year in college by finishing his junior year with over 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns for the Sooners. This selection has the internet going crazy, and Drew Lock is seen jumping for joy. With the 11th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the New York Jets select Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle, Alabama. The Jets didn't expect to be in this position at all. A lot of the scenarios that play out don't put them in a position to draft one of the top 2 offensive linemen. Usually, the top 4 offensive tackles are gone and they grab CeeDee Lamb pretty quickly. This time, they get to sit at their current spot and have the number 2 ranked offensive lineman drop right in their laps. Wills comes in and makes an immediate impact on that line, while Le'Veon and Darnold have to be ecstatic with this selection. Wills played on the right side primarily of the Crimson Tide, but I believe he is an extremely versatile prospect. With the 12th pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, Alabama. The Raiders see one of the wide receivers come off the board 2 picks prior after the Broncos trade up to pick whoever they want from the available wide receiver prospects, and the Raiders will not miss their opportunity here to get a game-changing player at the spot in the draft. Jerry Jeudy falls right into the lap of Mike Mayock and John Gruden, and he immediately becomes the wide receiver 1 in Las Vegas for the 2020 season and beyond. This should improve the game of Derek Carr, and if not, well, they'll be looking for his replacement in 2021. Jerry Jeudy blends a unique size, speed, and athleticism to the position and could make a difference from day one. Jeudy lands in Las Vegas ready to make noise in a new city. With the 13th pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Henry Ruggs, wide receiver, Alabama. The 49ers are in a great spot here as they listen to the options about moving back and stockpiling picks or just staying put and drafting their guy right here. The Niners decide to stay put and draft a player that they think complements Deebo Samuel so well. Ruggs is fast, like really fast, and can truly take the top off the defense. I think this is one of my favorite pairings in the first round just because of how dynamic that offense can be if you try to stack the box and stop the run. I envision a bunch of 30-point games for this offense in 2020, and we could see Jimmy G take another huge step in his career with the weapons at his disposal. Henry Ruggs is a welcome addition to the offense and will have the rest of the guys itching for the season to start. With the 14th pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, Georgia. The Buccaneers were really interested in trading up, but decided to stay here with the way the board fell. Cleveland traded out of their 10th pick, which gave Bruce Arians and company the confidence to hold off on a trade and let Andrew Thomas fall to them right here. Gronk helps that offensive line a lot more than people realize, as he's been excellent in blocking sets throughout his entire career. The thing with Andrew Thomas is he's immediately going to make an impact for Tom in year one, and that is perfect for the Buccaneers situation. This line needs to continue to improve later in the draft, but they're off to a great start with the fourth best offensive tackle in the class. With the 15th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Cleveland Browns select Josh Jones, offensive tackle, Houston. Josh Jones isn't rated as highly as the other linemen on this list, and for valid reasons. He's a very raw prospect but possesses a skill set and length that projects to him being a quality lineman in the NFL. He has a lot of natural ability in his game and can be groomed into a force to be reckoned with. Josh Jones steps in front of Baker Mayfield in an effort to catapult his development in year 3. With the 16th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Atlanta Falcons select K'Lavon Chaisson, edge, LSU. So the Falcons originally wanted to trade up in this draft but got shut out by virtually every team that they tried to contact. The Falcons frantically tried to move up, but again, it just wasn't going to happen. So they stay put and draft LSU's K'Lavon Chaisson as a game changer for their franchise on the defensive line. Pairing him with Takk McKinley and Grady Jarrett can elevate the play around those tenfold. This is a slam dunk pick for Atlanta, especially because they wanted to move up. They get great value here, staying put. With the 17th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, LSU. Okay, before anyone says anything, I absolutely hate this pick. One of the OG trash talkers kind of talked me into the selection, and I'm disgruntled I did this. But this just feels all too real for me. The Cowboys, in constant contract negotiations with Dak Prescott, take Justin Jefferson with the 17th overall pick in this mock draft. This happened for one reason and one reason only. Jerry Jones is petty. He's going to want to surround Dak with as many weapons as possible, so he has no excuse if he does not perform well. Justin Jefferson with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup is going to be wild, and regardless of my fandom, I would be too enamored with this option that I couldn't pass it up. Dak will be happy when he gets a new contract, but this should suffice for now. With the 18th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Miami Dolphins select Xavier McKinney, safety, Alabama. McKinney is going to get in a really good situation here with the Dolphins. They already took their future quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa with their 5th overall pick earlier in the draft, and I don't have them attacking the tackle position here because of the options that remain on the board for the rest of the draft. There are so many offensive linemen that can come in and help this team, but guys like McKinney are a rare breed. He sports elite tackling coupled with a locked-on nose for the football. In film, he was always around the ball, constantly making plays for the defense, as evidenced by his 95 total tackles. I love this fit here with McKinney, as he's going to be able to start day one and make an impact as soon as he steps in the building. With the 19th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the New England Patriots select Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon. Well, the Patriots did it. They orchestrated a trade scenario where they could grab the successor to the greatest quarterback of all time. Justin Herbert steps into a situation where he will not be rushed and he will be groomed the right way to play the position. Tom had an innate grasp of the playbook, and I expect Herbert and Stidham to continue to grow with one another as they get more confidence cycling through McDaniel's system. Herbert possesses the highest ceiling out of the trio, and giving up minimal assets to move up is something Bill can buy into. Herbert brings a live arm and athletic intangibles to New England. I think McDaniels is going to draw up some unique sets to unleash that athleticism a little more than Tom could. With the 20th pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Javon Kinlaw, interior defensive line, South Carolina. The Jaguars let out a huge cheer at their houses via the Zoom chat as they get a player they considered at their previous pick. Kinlaw is the second best interior defensive lineman prospect and brings a lot of energy and attitude to what was formerly known as Saxonville. Kinlaw is a gap stopper and can align along multiple fronts to get the job done. This is going to be essential to the Jaguars' ability to disrupt teams on the offensive side of the ball. Bringing in Kinlaw and Henderson puts his defense right back on the map as one of the scarier units in the NFL. With the 21st overall pick in the Lazy Killer 2020 mock draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Kenneth Murray, linebacker, Oklahoma. Okay. I know we need wide receiver, but none fell to the spot, and there's no way in hell I'm reaching up here to make that happen. We'll be fine. This has been my choice for a while for the Philadelphia Eagles. We haven't drafted a linebacker since 1979, so I would say they're due for this selection here. Murray is a highly talented and explosive linebacker, and his film at Oklahoma shows that at an extreme level. Murray has low-key shot up draft boards since the start of the season, and putting him in the middle of Jim Schwartz's defense is something I can get behind. His ability to diagnose the defense and react accordingly are among the best at the collegiate level last season. Murray can also play the zone when needed, which I know Schwartz will like in third and long situations. With the 22nd pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Jeff Gladney, cornerback, TCU. Gladney is a taller cornerback sitting at the 6-foot flat mark. He brings competitive to the position that others lack. He doesn't like to get beat, and when the lights are on the brightest, he always shows up to play. The Vikings boast one of the better front sevens in the league, which could help Gladney take the steps needed in his development to truly be a lockdown corner in this league. He does a lot of things well, but it will be up to the Vikings ultimately to continue to put him in situations that generate the best possible scenarios for him. He won't quit, so you're getting that TCU grit and work ethic from day one. With the 23rd overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer NFL mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select A.J. Terrell, cornerback, Clemson. The Raiders traded back and get to select another Clemson player with the 23rd overall pick in this draft. A.J. Terrell is continuing to climb up draft boards, and there is good reason for it. You can put this kid in man and forget about everything else. He is an absolute dog on the field. Mike Mayock likes his Clemson guys, so I don't see Terrell falling too low before this spot, especially if the Raiders trade back. This was one of the easier decisions to make in this mock draft. I think the Raiders are elated about both of their first-round picks in 2020. With the 24th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the New Orleans Saints select Patrick Queen, linebacker, LSU. Okay, I know there's a bunch of talk about this pick being the Jordan Love pick, but I'm not so sure. Bree signed a 2-year deal this offseason with his sights set on NBC after his career is over. He already has a deal in place once he retires within the next 2 years, and in my opinion, there's no reason to try to get a successor right now. You can get 2 solid years of production from Queen, which could propel you into a Super Bowl opportunity after being moments short of that the last couple years. Sorry, Saints fans. After finishing with 85 total tackles, 12 of which were tackles for loss, you can see the appeal here in New Orleans. With the 26th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Miami Dolphins select Austin Jackson, offensive tackle, USC. The Dolphins don't move up or grow off script with their research and continue to take players that can assist in their development as a team. Jackson plugs right into left tackle where he's most comfortable, although I believe he can swing to the right side, which is ideal when drafting a guy that is left-handed as your franchise quarterback. An incredibly versatile prospect, has good hands and consistently wins on blocks that pushes the defensive line backwards. He is an immense human being at 6'6" and will be able to keep Tua upright for years to come. Tua, McKinney, and Jackson is a wonderful trio to leave the first round with here in my mock draft. With the 27th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State. Yes, in my mock, the Colts trade up to this spot in order to secure their signal caller for the future. Jordan Love, like Herbert, has a live arm, and some head coach is going to have fun with this prospect over the first couple years of their development. In this scenario, it's Frank Reich, and boy do I love this fit. Love gets to sit behind Rivers and Brissett while trying to adapt to the NFL and all of its nuances. Love isn't going to blow you away on the stat sheet in college, but with some sculpting and development, he has shades of a dynamic play caller at the next level. With the 28th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Cesar Ruiz, interior offensive lineman, Michigan. Okay, so hear me out. The Ravens like to run the ball, right? Why not provide them with an offensive lineman that specializes in run blocking and pure power sets? Ruiz started 31 games for Michigan over his career and possesses all the tools necessary to start right away for the Ravens. With the ability to start at multiple spots across the interior line, this seems like a home run pick for the Ravens, a team that looks to get over the hump in the playoffs behind sensational quarterback Lamar Jackson. Ruiz is going to step in and be an impact blocker from day one. I think Lamar is going to be very happy with this choice here. With the 29th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Tennessee Titans select Yader Gross Matos, edge, Penn State. YGM hails from Penn State, and they have produced some pretty great players in the past couple years. Between Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders, Chris Godwin, and a couple more, YGM could be the next prospect to burst out of the scene from Penn State. If I'm the Titans, I want to control the line of scrimmage on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Derrick Henry has the offensive side handled, but the defensive side needs a tad bit more push. Adding Gross Matos to that front makes him scary, and with all the quarterback play in the AFC South, this could be 100% needed. With the 30th overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Green Bay Packers select Jalen Reagor, wide receiver, TCU. I wanted to give Aaron Rodgers a true speed demon on the outside. Reagor fits that mold completely here at the back end of the first. Reagor clocked out at a 4.47 in the 40-yard dash, and that's not even as fast as he can run. On film, he seems faster with the ball in his hands than running in a straight line at the combine. I know it seems weird, but maybe it's all the defensive players he's running by consistently. Rodgers is going to love the ability to chuck the ball 40 to 50 yards downfield to a wide-open Reagor multiple times this season. Reagor is a great complement to Adams as it allows Devontae to still eat up the middle of the field and be the unique route runner that he is. I love this pairing here as well. With the 31st overall pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Jalen Hurts, quarterback, Oklahoma. The Chargers take someone at the beginning of the first and bookend it with another player in the background of the first as well. The Chargers have their team in a really good position, especially after drafting Isaiah Simmons earlier in the draft. There's no way that I'm leaving this first round without the Chargers getting their quarterback in the future in Hurts. This is a reach for most, but I think Hurts has the ability to be a quality NFL starter at the bare minimum. Sitting behind Tyrod Taylor, whose game is very similar to his own, is going to only do wonders for his production. I think Jalen Hurts has the ability to take over in 2021 or 2022 and be an instant playmaker for this Chargers offense. With the 32nd pick in the 2020 Lazy Killer mock draft, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, select Grant Delpit, safety, LSU. The Chiefs are here and land a surefire safety in the end of the first. After seeing the Chargers jump in front of them to select their quarterback of the future, it's only right that Kansas City improves the defense that gave them so many concerns in 2019. They struggled a little in the playoffs, consistently going down and having Mahomes save them. But adding Delpit with Tyrann Mathieu should be a huge get for the Chiefs here in the back end of the first round. I love this selection here, as I've been a huge Delpit fan for the last couple years, and I would love to see him play behind that defensive line that causes so much havoc. This is a really, really good pairing here, and I'm really happy to finish this mock draft with this pick here. I just want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in this video. I really appreciate the support. If you like what you saw, please go to my channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I release new content. Thank you guys, and see you in the next video. Peace.